Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Thomas Hale. I am the founder and director of the Virginia Mineral Project, and I wanted to take a moment today to give a quick update video for the VMP going into 2021 and 2022. Of course, over 2020 and the pandemic, there was a lot of issues that prevented us from doing interviews and traveling over that last year, but we were able to accomplish a lot. So this update video is to give you all an idea of what we accomplished over 2020 and where we're going in 2021 and 2022. Before we begin, let's do a quick presentation overview of what I hope to accomplish in this update video. First, I want to start from the beginning, which is Tucson of 2020. This is the last event that the Virginia Mineral Project did before everything was shut down. I also want to talk about some of the early COVID-19 developments and how they shaped and molded the way that the Virginia Mineral Project engaged and worked with the local communities. In addition, I want to talk about all the COVID-19 programming that we were able to accomplish. At the beginning, we started doing Zoom sessions in order to keep the community engaged. A lot of these videos can be found on YouTube now throughout the last year. One of the greatest accomplishments over the last year is the development of the Friends of Mineralogy Virginia chapter. This is a great success, and the chapter continues to grow to this day. I have been so impressed to see all the community coming together to support this initiative. And so in this presentation, we'll talk about how it relates to the Virginia Mineral Project and the overall goals of outreaching across the state. Throughout COVID-19, we also worked on creating a Zoom assistance document in hopes to get clubs back in the game. We also created the second version of our Virginia Mineral Directory for 2021. We also have two social media pages currently, Virginia Rock County and Virginia Minerals, which have grown to exponential numbers in the last year. In all of this, I want to talk about the accomplishments that we had of 2020 and 2021. There were many, given the pandemic and COVID-19 restrictions. Of course, with all these changes, there is a shift in our focus. So I want to talk about how that's changing and what our goals and objectives are in the next year. Two of these examples are the Virginia Rock County Handbook and the Rock County 101 course, which are two great ways to engage with the community given the response during COVID-19. And then finally, I want to look ahead and see where the Virginia Mineral Project is going in the future and any of the questions that we still have to answer. And for those watching in person, we will have time for a Q&A session. So why did the Virginia Mineral Project go out to the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show? Well, for one, it is one of the top shows in the world and is the largest gem and mineral show in the country. One of its biggest reputations is that it brings together all the big names in the mineral community together in one place. We wanted to take the opportunity to meet with these individuals and organizations to share about what we're doing in Virginia and on the East Coast. Our goal was simple. We wanted to bring attention to the work that we had done and to the goals that we had about preserving and promoting our state's mineral heritage. Throughout our trip, we collected over 45 business cards and outreach to several key people and organizations who wanted to help with the project. Many of these dealers, scientists, and enthusiasts had stories, specimens, and photographs that we could use for our research. Additionally, we even found some Virginia mineral specimens out in Tucson. Here are two very special pieces that we found out in Tucson. On the left, we have a beautiful apophyllite on prehnite with chalcopyrite from the Bealeton Quarry in Virginia that measures around 12 by 9 inches, a massive piece. When we found this piece first in a display case at the show, the dealer could not believe that it was from Virginia. It was labeled as being an Indian apophyllite and prehnite. We told them that there was no way and that this was from Virginia. They ended up calling one of their co-workers, and when they came back, they said, yes, you're right, that this was Virginia, and they apologized that it was mislabeled. This clearly showcases that many in the broader mineral community, when they see specimens like this, will sometimes think that it's mislabeled because they're unaware and they don't see any photographs online or in any books that showcase these remarkable Virginia mineral deposits. This validates what we're doing with the Virginia Mineral Project, and was great to see that we could provide some information to dealers and collectors when out in Tucson. Thankfully, this piece was also purchased by another Virginia mineral collector and is now preserved in a collection here back in the States. On the right is a remarkable specimen with a long history. This is a fluorocalciumicrolite from the Rutherford No. 2 pegmatite in Amelia County, Virginia. At the top, we can see that there's a small tag that says $3.50, quite a price difference from these days. This tag indicates that this specimen had been sold in the United States. However, it was purchased by a dealer out in France. Somehow this mineral had traveled all the way from a small town of Amelia County, all the way out to France, all the way back to Tucson, and then now in the home of my own collection. It's pretty remarkable to see how far minerals can travel and the stories that are sometimes lost between those travels. But thankfully, this fluorocalciumicrolite is now preserved back in the state for the Virginia Mineral Project. Here are some other remarkable specimens that we found out in Tucson from other world localities. Tucson is known for this beautiful mineral specimens and incredible exhibits when you go out to these shows. While some of these minerals are pretty pricey, it's really cool to go out and experience and see what true quality in minerals looks like. Here are just a few examples, but if you want to learn more, the Virginia Mineral Project actually created a talk on the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show from a first-timer's perspective for the community to learn. At the early onset of COVID-19, several developments changed the way that the Virginia Mineral Project worked and engaged with the local community. As soon as the shutdown was issued in the Commonwealth of Virginia, all of the mineral and gem societies, including the museums and the colleges that the Virginia Mineral Project worked with, went into hibernation. Most, if not all, of the communications between our organization and their organizations ended. Unfortunately, this meant that interviews with older members also ended because many did not have the technology to engage in virtual spaces. And there was health risk with going out and doing personal interviews during COVID. I decided that I needed to continue doing something virtually, and that the Virginia Mineral Project needed to fill a gap that had clearly been opened during the pandemic. To solve this, we began hosting weekly and then bi-weekly to now monthly events for the Virginia mineral community. Our goal was to fill the time and to fill the community with something rather than nothing. Throughout the pandemic, the state of our community in Virginia, regionally and nationally, has also suffered major impacts. But the Virginia Mineral Project was resilient and worked through the pandemic to get people back engaged and working for a common cause. To accomplish this, we wanted to come up with high-quality programming throughout COVID-19. Over 30 lectures were given throughout COVID-19 by the Virginia Mineral Project. Many of these were for the Virginia mineral community, but some were for other states. For those that we met out in Tucson before COVID hit, we were able to reconnect with their clubs and organizations who are hosting virtual events. These virtual platforms allowed for speakers who can never engage with these communities across the country, but now could do it at their fingertips. This is a short list of some of the major talks that I gave and created throughout COVID-19. First, we have the Virginia Minerals talk, which is an overview of some of the most classic books in our state. I also gave a two-part presentation on classic Virginia mineral localities. I did a talk on the Saltville quartz crystals, which is a rockhound paradise with archaeology, paleontology, and geology. We also did one on Scufflin Acres amethyst, which is a very popular place that hopes to open up within the next couple months. And we also had some guest speakers. Scott Dureski gave a talk on the Rutherford Mine. We also had Cadence Boucher, who gave a talk on the network analysis of Virginia's mineralogical systems. We also had Michael Dunn, who gave a talk on the Alla Cooper Mine. And these talks were well received by the community. In addition, we did some community talks, such as cleaning and preparing your minerals, mineral labeling, a new generation of mineral collectors, and the Tucson 2020 experience. I also have the Richmond Vivianite locality and the Herb No. 2 mine locality, which we did during this time. All of these presentations had fantastic attendance, averaging around 30 to 40 people at the lowest, and at the highest, 60 to 80 people. We're very lucky to have a broad outreach now due to these talks, which enabled us to have a great community during a pandemic. And for the success of these programs, we decided to do something more. We wanted to bring the community together and actually engage in something that was an organization, not just an initiative. So we rallied the team and brought people from across the state and across the country for a common cause. We wanted to develop an organization that had a state to national focus and did not overstep the local club's initiatives and objectives for mineral collecting and local communities. We figured that the best way to do this was to create our very own Friends of Mineralogy chapter. This is exciting because there's been a while since there's been a new Friends of Mineralogy chapter, and it's been over 30 years since there's been a new club or organization dedicated to mineralogy in the state of Virginia. In the past, there was the Southern Friends of Mineralogy chapter that had a larger focus, but we wanted to keep it focused on Virginia for now. So we decided to create our own chapter, which now has a 501c3 status. We have our logo, which you can see on the right, which is a Barger's Quarry Pyrite crystal. This specimen is actually what we got our inspiration from. This is from the Buck Keller collection. We created our own website, our marketing materials, and we even have a merchandise shop now. In the last year, we've been able to accomplish a lot. So who is Friends of Mineralogy Virginia? Well, we're a large group of people dedicated to mineralogy and geology education. We're very fortunate to have leaders in the young mineral collectors community, leaders from the Mineralogical Society of America, and clubs from across the country. In fact, many of our members are actually not in Virginia, which is pretty ironic, right? We've actually been able to connect nationally across the country and having pulled people in from Tucson, from California, from Washington, all together to focus on something that we believe is a new generation and a new focus on the mineral collecting community. So Friends of Mineralogy Virginia is much more than just a Virginia organization. It is the future of our hobby. It is the future of how organizations interact with the community, and we strive to focus on how to look forward rather than backwards, and how we engage with our local community all the way up to the national stage. Here are some other beautiful photographs of this Barger's Quarry Pyrite specimen that we used for our inspiration for our logo. It was very difficult coming up with the logo for Friends of Mineralogy Virginia. We talked about spessartine garnets from the Rutherford pegmatite, amazonite from Moorfield, crystalline turquoise from the Bishop mine. But we came up with this idea because it truly represents what we're trying to do. The beautiful and complex morphology of these pyrite crystals showcase the incredible mineralogy that occurs at this location. And that's what we do. We want to teach and educate about geology and mineralogy. So we felt the Barger's Quarry Pyrites were the perfect specimen to do that. So you're probably wondering then, what is the difference between Friends of Mineralogy Virginia chapter and the Virginia Mineral Project, and why even create FMVA if you already had the VMP? Well, first let's keep in mind that the Virginia Mineral Project is an initiative. It is a research project that is dedicated to preserving and promoting the state's mineral mining heritage. FMVA is a byproduct of the VMP. It is a legitimate nonprofit organization that is focused on the broader issue of promoting mineralogy and geology education. We also need to keep in mind too that FMVA has different goals and objectives that help distinguish it from the VMP. And hopefully this will clear up how these two organizations are different but work together. First, FMVA provides quality monthly speaker series events for the broader public that are free and put on YouTube that focus on mineral localities that are across the world. Through our outreach, we are able to bring in talented speakers, some of these top-class speakers from the mineral community, to look at world localities, some of the greatest locations across the globe. In this sense, we allow the community to understand better how our geology and mineralogy connects to the other geology and mineralogies around the world. We also use FMVA to create further programming and educational materials for the state. We understood that the Virginia Mineral Project is a huge undertaking. Therefore, we needed a team of dedicated staff and individuals who could look at doing other things while the VMP works on its own research project. We also want to work with clubs across Virginia to bridge the community together and collaborate. We understood that most clubs are local, so having the Virginia chapter of Friends of Mineralogy allows us to have an organization that can connect the local community to the state level and to the national level. In this regards, FMVA is a conduit for the local clubs to learn more about the state and about the national community. And this helps with their own logistics and focusing on their community while working together with FMVA. FMVA also wants to engage with schools, universities, and organizations to promote mineralogy and geology education. We want to have an organization that is more research focused and educational focused than field trip focused. We also see ourselves as a resource for local clubs. We want to promote and support their operations to ensure our hobby prospers. It's going to be difficult getting back after COVID-19, and so FMBA is a resource for clubs to use to help succeed as a community as a whole. FMBA is all about collaboration. And then finally, with the networking outreach that FMBA has garnered over the last year, which is pretty incredible, we want to be able to market and outreach Virginia minerals to the broader community. As set forth in the Virginia Mineral Project, we want as many people as possible to learn about our state's mineral deposits and heritage. And we believe that FMBA is a good way to do that. By bringing people in for different events from across the world, we get to have people in a room and then talk about how those locations connect to Virginia. FMBA provides a perfect organization to do this, and we're very excited to see the future. So what are some of the events and opportunities that we have at FMBA? Well, first, as I said, we have these speaker series events every single month that allow all members from the community to get involved and learn about world localities. As an organization, we welcome members not just from Virginia, but from any other state and any other country. We want to be diverse in how we look at the mineral community of the future. We believe that having organizations like FMBA that have a diverse membership from all across the globe will enable us to do new and exciting events and opportunities that traditional organizations have not done in the past. Another thing that we're working on right now, which is very exciting, is we have a collaboration that's ongoing with the Virginia Transportation and Construction Alliance, VTCA. And we're working on educational documents and programs with VTCA for the community of Virginia. One thing that's exciting about this relationship is that in the past, the mineral community has not really had a good working relationship with the quarries, rightfully so. In the past, many times, quarries have seen mineral collectors as insurance traps or issues of people trespassing to get the mineral specimens. We hope that FMBA will build a real meaningful relationship with VTCA, in which we can distribute rock kits to the local community, come up with display cases in the schools, and work on some of these educational symposiums that will be occurring every fall. Again, we provide virtual formats, and this is very important for FMBA because we allow you to join from anywhere at any time. By putting our videos on YouTube, which is something we dedicated our chapter to doing, we allow you to watch at any time. Traditionally, clubs have always seen their membership as being there in person, but FMBA understands that many people are busy in today's world. So having our videos on YouTube allows you to watch at any time, anywhere. Again, though, we recognize that in-person events are still required and still very much wanted by the community. So, although we have members from other states and other countries, we will also create in-person events. We actually have an upcoming event at a local winery and brewery that we'll be hosting for FMBA members. In this regards, we'll try new things to have local rock swaps, local meetups, to keep the community engaged here in Virginia. One thing that's really cool about FMBA is that by becoming a member of FMBA, which is $15 a year, you get access to the national organization. So that almost enables you to be connected to the state and the national level if you're a local club member. And then one thing that we're excited to talk about in the future is symposiums. Historically, FM chapters have all created local symposiums. And so we're planning on a symposium in 2022 or 2023, depending on COVID schedules and how these things develop. As you saw in the last slide, that was a pretty ugly looking turquoise crystal. But this is a beautiful photograph by Matt McGill in the collection of Alex Finsky now. That is a beautiful crystallized turquoise specimen from the Bishop Mine and Lynch Station. Again, this is highlighting what the Virginia Mineral Project and what FMBA is doing by modernizing and updating some of our classic localities. These beautiful photos allow us to get out into the public, share these images, and encapsulate attention, which in the past was very hard to do with black and white images and blurry photographs. So let's talk a little bit more about specific things that we did over COVID-19 with the Virginia Mineral Project and FMBA. First, we created a Zoom assistance document. This was crucial to getting organizations back in the game and getting the local clubs together. As I said before, most clubs, as soon as COVID hit, were inactive. They were unsure of what to do and how to go about it. Part of this was because most of the meeting locations were in public spaces, where you were unable to get into person. COVID-19 restrictions also made it very difficult with a community that is typically over the age of 40. So the VMP and FMVA wanted to get people back on their feet. We created this Zoom document as a general template for clubs to create and design their own way of getting their members involved. We shared this with tons of clubs across the East Coast, from Virginia all the way to Florida, all the way up to Maine. This even went out west. And so this document was not necessarily kept the same, but it was used as a template for clubs to get back in the game. And so, as we say here, this document was very helpful in getting organizations involved, and FMVA and VMP were dedicated to working even with individuals to get them involved in the mineral community during COVID-19. Another thing that we're very proud of is our Virginia Mineral Directory. In 2020, we released the first directory. This directory provides all the information on clubs, shops, museums, and resources in the state. Last year, we just had club, shops, and museums, but this year we included additional resources and links, including a slide on the Virginia Mineral Project and on the Friends of Mineralogy chapter, so that when you want to learn more about our state's opportunities, you can just go to this one location to get all the information you need. We even have a map that shows you all the different organizations in Virginia, where you can find the local club that will match your interest. We provide all the leadership information, contact information, website, and social media information for every single club, museum, and shops in the state. And then next year, we're very excited to work with the local clubs as things get back into normal to create a show list where we will highlight at the beginning of the year, which these mineral directories are released every February, all the shows that will be happening throughout the year. This way we can help promote all the local clubs and provide a document where people can open up at the beginning of the year and see what's going to happen and how they can engage with the community. This is very exciting because historically it's been very difficult to get information in one place at one time for those who are not currently engaged in the community. But of course we can't forget about social media. This has been crucial to engaging with the Virginia community throughout COVID-19. Without in-person events and in-person club meetings, there had to be a way to reach out to the community. And so social media was very critical during these times. One of the biggest successes of the Virginia Mineral Project was the Virginia Rock County page. This page has historically been developed by Brooks Britt of the Tidewater Gem and Mineral Society in 2009. As of June 2020, the page only had 550 members. But the Virginia Mineral Project worked on creating marketing and outreach to grow its membership base. Within 1 year, during a global pandemic, the page now has over 8,000 members and growing. This is incredible because it shows the capabilities of social media and engagement that has not been in part of local traditional organizations. This is a great platform for people from all skill levels to learn more from one another and to share and engage in questions. We get a lot of identification posts, a lot of questions about how to collect and get involved, and so we use this page as a way to get people involved with local clubs or create their own clubs in places that there's no club near them. It is also open for clubs who work with the VMP and FMVA to market and promote their organization and events. We see this as a huge opportunity for clubs to gain access to over 8,000 individuals to share about their local swap coming up, their local show, or any events that they're doing. Again, this is a community page for the community, and so we believe in promoting and outreaching for all the clubs. We've been meeting a ton of new and incredible people due to this social media page. It's been quite interesting to see who's been involved. Ironically, of all these 8,000 people, there are not many club members that are involved on this page. This means that this 8,000 membership base is a complete new territory for engagement and outreach. This means that there's 8,000 people who were not being outreached to previously. Maybe they went to a local gem and mineral show, but now they're able to engage on a nightly basis with rockhounds across the state. We're very excited to see how this page grows and to start creating some in-person events for the page itself, including community swaps, meetups for young mineral collectors, and meetups locally and regionally for the group as a whole. In addition to Virginia Rock County, we also have Virginia Minerals. Virginia Minerals was created in early 2020 for those who are focused on minerals. I wanted to have two pages that provided a resource for the average collector all the way up to the expert collector. but a way that both communities can engage with one another. Since the creation of this page, we now have 1,400 members, which is pretty remarkable given the context of COVID-19. These members are more involved in specimen collection of minerals and have more scientific and detailed discussions about mineralogy and education. However, we want to remain inclusive, so we open this group up to everyone, but we remain focused on mineral posts rather than fossils, rocks, and other broad geology themes. In this regards, it is very focused on the goals and objectives of the VMP. This actually helps because the posts that we have on this page are actually used in preservation for the VMP. So many of the things that you'll see are actually being preserved and recorded within the project. In this regard, we keep posts low and curated, and we try to remain focused on the education rather than identification posts. In Virginia Rock County, this is a common theme to see a few ID posts every single day. So in this regard, this page is great for looking at high-end mineral specimens and engaging more in the mineralogy and geology aspects of the hobby. So what are some of the main accomplishments then that the Virginia Mineral Project and FMVA had over COVID-19? Well, first we developed the 2021 Virginia Mineral Directory, which is your one-stop resource for everything you need to know about getting involved in the Virginia mineral community. I also gave over 30 lectures and created over 20 new programs. There are now currently 6 locality videos on the state and classics videos that can be found on YouTube. We created the Friends of Mineralogy Virginia chapter, which has grown immensely since the beginning of COVID. We developed the Virginia Minerals Facebook group, which now has over 1,400 members since its development. We have the Virginia Rock County group, which was developed in 2009, and since 2020 had only 500 members. But over the last year through the VMP marketing, we've now made over 8,000 members and growing. We've developed strong partnerships with the Lynchburg and Shenandoah Gem and Mineral Societies, which are the first to join FMVA in its efforts. We've created collaborations with over 15 states on the East Coast and out west. We've developed strong relationships with MNDAT.org, the Mineralogical Society of America, the United States Geological Survey, and the Young Mineral Collectors. We're actually very honored to have many YMC leaders involved in FMVA. We also created the Zoom assistance document to get clubs back in the game and connecting with their local communities. The Virginia Mineral Project was also very fortunate to acquire a massive Virginia Minerals book and publication collection, many of which are used as the source material for the videos that you see on YouTube. And then finally, something that we're excited to talk about in the coming months is the Rutherford Mine Research Collection. This is a classic locality in Virginia that we'll be working on as the first research collection of the Virginia Mineral Project, and we will release more information in the future. So now let's move away from the past and look at the future. COVID-19 had many changes, positive and negative, and so there's been a shift in focus on the Virginia Mineral Project and the new creation of FMVA. And what does this mean for the broader mineral community? Well, first, the community has responded positively to the videos on Virginia minerals and geology. While original efforts to create a paper publication, there's been a lot of positive response in videos. The community can watch these at any time they want. They're free and open to the public. So for right now, the VMP will focus on continuing to create videos on these localities and the research that it is doing. The VMP will also continue to host these live events, taking old documents and localities and bringing them into the 21st century. In this regards, this video platform that we'll have will be an aid in future paper publications in the future. As I said, paper publications are pending until clubs and organizations can get back on their feet and we can support one another as a community. This is because most of the interviews and stories that we wanted to include in the book have been limited throughout COVID-19. So in a year, we'll reassess this and see where we go. There also seems to be a broader interest in engagement and outreach over publications. What I mean by this is that these social media pages that we have, these new types of events and activities that we'll be talking about in the next 2 slides, are a great way to engage. The goals have not changed, but the way that we achieve those goals have. And then lastly, it is very important that we still continue to try to create more involvement in our community. This is very important for us because while we want to work on these publications and new videos, we still need rockhounds, collectors, and individuals to work with the VMP and FMVA to keep our community successful. It's all about collaboration and engagement And so our goal is to continue to find new ways to increase that engagement. With over 8,000 people in Virginia Rock County, we have a huge resource pool. Getting them to get more involved is the question, right? So that's what we're focusing on as we look forward. If your original interest in the Virginia Mineral Project was the development of a paper publication or a book, do not fret. There's a project that we're working on currently that I think you'll enjoy. Early on in R.V. Dietrich's career, around the late 1950s and early 1960s, he created something known as the Virginia Minerals and Rocks publication, seen on the left. This was a smaller publication, around 60 pages, that was meant to be a handbook for the average collector all the way up to the expert who wanted to get out in the field and collect and learn more about Virginia minerals. This desire and this inspiration that's been drawn from R.V. Dietrich has come from the social media pages, where we have thousands of new rockhounds that want to learn more but are unsure of how to do it. And so through a handbook, rather than a large, extensive, and dense publication, we will be able to engage more people into the hobby. Getting their involvement will actually aid our goals and objectives to a larger publication, as well as support to the local gem and mineral societies. The VMP, along with FMVA, will be working together in a small team to create around a 70-page publication that will be concise and to the point, that will be used as a rockhound's guide to collecting in Virginia, just like this old publication by R.V. Dietrich. And again, the goal is to have a handbook that can be taken out in the field. So while we do want to have paper publications of this smaller handbook, for now we're looking at a free PDF version for the community, which will allow a lot of people to access it. And then, if people want to purchase a paper copy, we will look into creating those as the time comes. As far as the date of this release of this publication, we are looking at 2022 to 2023, if not sooner. We will be keeping the Virginia Mineral Project community updated on these developments. And the last thing to keep you updated on is the Rock County 101 course. This is something that I'm very excited about and have thought about for a long time. With all the growth in our social media pages, there's been an increased need for many of these amateur collectors to learn more about what it actually means to rockhound. What are the tools that you need? How do you label your specimens? How do you clean your specimens? What are these different types of minerals? How can I ID my own minerals? And so this Rock County 101 course will be a way to get people into the hobby and create face-to-face experiences that will promote engagement off social media. Currently, we're seeing that many people will post on Facebook but will not attend our local club meeting or FMVA events. And so by having this face-to-face interaction, we can ensure and increase the likelihood that someone will want to get more involved and engaged off the site. This is critical to ensuring that our clubs succeed and that the community as a whole prospers. As of now, this will be a two-part virtual class where you'll get all this information, including resources and documents to help you be successful out in the field. And then it will end on a field trip to several different locations across the state, where we will learn geology concepts, we will learn how to collect in different locations, and we will use our connections and networks to local quarries, mineral localities, and just general geology field trips that you'll see in a Geo 101 class. The first course will be planned for mid-July, and we plan to have 15 to 20 people in it. Our future goal is to have this course trained for all FMVA team members and partner organizations. We firmly believe that if we can take this course and create a template for other organizations and for our own members that partner with FMVA, then it can be used as a way for clubs to engage and increase membership in their own organization. So while this is still in development, we will be very excited to keep you updated with the results as we get into August. I'd like to end this presentation by looking ahead. First, college has kept me very busy, but the team that we've built at FMVA continue to help maintain and grow VMP activities. I've been very impressed with what we've accomplished over the last year, let alone during a global pandemic. However, we still need more people to submit their stories, photographs, and information for future Virginia Mineral Project publications. My career goals have also shifted, and I now focus on mineral supply chains and national security related to energy and critical minerals, so I hope to have some cool events for the public in the future. I also think it is critical that us as a team at FMVA get the industry more involved with our community. By building bridges with universities and aggregate companies, we will increase the support to the mineral community in Virginia and as a whole. It has been so long since we've had meaningful relationships with these organizations, and it is time that we work together again for a common cause. The Virginia Mineral Project will also continue its virtual events into July, but they may become bi-monthly to reduce Zoom fatigue. Remember that the FMVA chapter will also have its own speaker series events every month, so you will find something to do in the Virginia Mineral community. And then last, FMVA will also play a new and large role in the state's mineral community. We believe in ourselves as a resource for the local community and for the state as a whole. We hope that clubs will join us in this push to revitalize and progress the hobby after COVID-19. We are unsure of what that will look like after COVID, when things get back to normal, but we do hope that by working together and collaborating, we can progress our hobby to the future. And then finally, I have here some of the future programs that we've been thinking about doing for the Virginia Mineral Project. The first is Virginia Gold, which I think will be a big hit in the mineral community. We have the Mike and Feldspar Deposits book of 1960, the Austinville Lead and Zinc Mine, Google Earth and rock hounding, basically how do we use Google Earth to help us in the rock hounding community. Maintaining a collection, which I think is important. We've talked about labeling and cleaning, but I think it's important to talk about displaying and storage. People of Virginia Minerals, this is something that we wanted to do previously, but I think it is important for us to highlight some of the collectors who have made an impact on our community. The Economic Minerals of Virginia, how Virginia's minerals have played a role in the economy of the state. And then lastly, the Coles Hill Uranium Deposit, which is a fascinating case study in nuclear energy and uranium mining, but also plays into some of the interesting concepts of the mineral community that I think everyone will enjoy. Again, this is a short presentation of what we've accomplished over the last year, but as you can see, there's been a lot done. I'm very excited for the 2021 and 2022 year and hope to continue going forward with the Virginia Mineral Project. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at virginiamineralproject@gmail.com, and I am happy to talk to you about anything you would like. Thank you for listening.